My father and mother grew up in a small town in St. Mary's Bay, and it was called Harricott. Harricott is a land settlement community, and they moved there in 1935. My mother and her family moved from Carabinier, and my father and his family moved from Winterton. Basically, they were on welfare. And in those days, the Commission government set up land settlement communities throughout the province, and they were trying to diversify the economy in Newfoundland. And how they figured they would diversify the economy was to put families into established communities, really. They were fishing communities, but they wanted to put them in communities where they would do woodworking, would do some farming, and it was set up like a co-op. So every family that went there, they were given a small house, and they were given a plot of land, and they were allowed to harvest the trees and do milling, and they were allowed to grow their vegetables and have domesticated animals in there. So that was from 1935. I was born in 1955, which was 20 years later, and I was born in that community. And after 3 years, they all moved out of the community because there was no schools there. So we moved to Whitburn, and most of the families that was in Harricott moved to Whitburn. But Markland is also a land settlement community, and people were there, but they all moved back to Whitburn. So my father, mostly my father, talked a lot about the dirty 30s during the Depression and how hard it was to make a living. That was always a topic in my father's and mother's house, was the dirty 30s and how poor things were. And they used to get 6 cents a day. Dole, he used to call it. It was the dole. So, yeah, it was certainly a topic that I grew up hearing about. The Confederation, he was 100% for it. Loved Joey Smallwood, and I mean, right till the day he died, and he lived to be 87, he was a Joey Smallwood supporter and a good Liberal all the way through. And absolutely seen a big change. He went from working in the lumber woods to becoming a grader operator and working for the Department of Highways, and that's what he retired from in the mid-1970s, and he lived, like I said, until 2012 in Whitburn. I guess it didn't change rapidly at first. I mean, it didn't just change overnight. I mean, 1949 would have been the year that we joined Canada, but I mean, I remember in 1965 when the Trans-Canada was completed. It meant that you were able to go right across the island from one end to the next. And I mean, the only way to get across the island before that was by train, which was much slower than driving. And I remember as a young boy leaving Whitburn and going to St. John's, and you had to go out Brigus Road, get on and go out, and you go through Brigus, on out through Brigus, on out through Colliers, out along and in Conception Bay south into St. John's in Topsail Road. And that was all gravel road at the time. So they would have to come up to Whitburn and stay in boarding houses and go to school. And once they finished, then they went on and got careers. But a lot of people wouldn't leave the communities, and they would finish up in school grade 8 and 9. I mean, here in Come By Chance, a friend of mine now that I walk with every morning, he told me about when he came in off the islands in 1965. He went to school here. The school was right across the road. They were at Mini Homes too now. And he went to school there to Clyde Ryan, and Clyde taught him grade 11, and he said he didn't pass the exam. I mean, he failed, and he had to go out to Sunnyside and go to school out there and finish off, and he did manage to pass the exam and go on and become a surveyor, a land surveyor. So these are the kinds of things that you've seen big improvements in after Confederation. I mean, we were getting better education, we were in better schools, we were on better roads, and there was more diversity when it come to even food improved. I mean, you were able to go to a supermarket in Whitburn and shop in a supermarket as opposed to going to a general store and picking up just the bare essentials. And that, when I grew up in Whitburn in 1971, 72, the Joneses put in a supermarket, and you go in and pick up your cart, go around and pick up your groceries. They cut you fresh meat and things like that, which you've seen a big improvement. Before that, out on the islands, they would have to go in boat, bring back their year's supply of salt beef, salt pork, and everything was pretty well salted in order to keep it, because there was no refrigeration and so on. So as we got Confederation, we got electricity, we got running water in our houses instead of having to go to the well. We got flush toilets instead of outhouses. There was a tremendous improvement in life. Basically was like it for 400 years, and all of a sudden, after Confederation, we were starting to see big changes.